the challenge of getting off the dime and bringing various actors into an engagement and action required to provide the support and operational capacity you need to achieve public value essentially is a task of mobilizing and organizing particular actors. And what's important about the actors is that some of them have the actual operational capacity you need to be able to produce the desired results, and some of them have the authorization or permissions or demands or financial resources or the control over the authority of the state that's required in order for the actions to be taken by the operational actors. So the challenge then is to, in effect, mobilize a set of people that are committed to joining you in the crusade to create the particular public value that you have in mind to produce. Now, an important step in that then is to figure out exactly who those actors are in your particular environment. And it's here that the strategic triangle once again becomes useful, because it turns out that the different points on the strategic triangle create different logics that you could use to trace in your existing environment to see which actors might be available for engagement. So we're going to call this exercise the logics of engagement. And we're going to try to use the logic of engagement with respect to public value, the logic of engagement with respect to productive capacity, and the logic of engagement with respect to authorization, legitimation, and financing as devices for searching your environment to find the particular individuals who are candidates for inclusion in the army that you're trying to create that will create the public value that you've got in mind. So let's start with the logic of value. And once you've identified a particular set of dimensions of public value that you think are at stake in the proposed actions that you plan to take or worth trying to improve, you essentially identify a group of potential actors that might be available to join your effort. And that would be all the people who are interested in advancing those particular values. You also perhaps might then be able to identify some potential opponents, which would be all those who were against the advancement of those particular public values. And that would give you a map of those in favor and those again in the environment in which you're operating. The next stage would be the logic of engagement that sort of said that was associated with operational capacity. And with that logic, you would start with the value that you were trying to produce. You'd start with an idea about how that value could be produced. And then you'd ask yourself the question, who are the people that are already in the field who have capabilities of the type that I need to be able to accomplish that goal, all right? And that logic of engagement, focusing on operational capacity, would identify a group of potential operational partners or operational allies in the producing of the desired results. The third logic of engagement would be the logic of authorization and support and legitimacy. And that logic of engagement would draw your attention to those people who had their hands on spigots or controls that released or held back resources that would be required for you to be able to produce the desired result. Now, what's interesting is that if you use each of those three logics and use them independently to sweep across the particular environment in which you're operating, you'll find that each of those logics will generate a slightly different group of actors. But they won't be wholly independent. There will be many actors who show up in two or more of those logics. And of course, the more actors there are, or the more an actor appears in all three logics, the more important that actor will turn out to be for you. And therefore, you can begin to prioritize which are the key relationships that need to be developed and strengthened in order for you to be able to move forward.